stage. Welcome, Kristen, on the stage. Thank you for joining this event, Kristen. So before we start your session, I'll do a brief introduction of yours. So Kristen Ursel is a transformational coach who guides individuals to transform the whole self emotionally and spiritually to embody and become the highest expression of their authentic selves. Live a life of alignment and impact on an ever greater scale. So, after Kristen's life took a tragic turn in 2014 when she found herself widowed with two young children under the age of six. And despite the external appearance of having it all together over the next 5 years, Kristen faced immense personal challenges. Kristen is a certified coach, awarded International Coach of the Year in 2021, and channels and her experiences and personal growth into coaching and mentoring individuals on a transformative energy journey of healing, self awareness, and leadership. Through her business, Press Mind Dynamics Transformational Holistic Coaching, she helps individuals shift their perceptions, integrate their emotions, and guide them toward a profound transformations. Kristen's ultimate goal is to enable individuals to authentically align with their trust selves and live a life of genuine purpose and fulfillment. That's really wonderful interaction, Kristen. So thank you so much for joining this event. Yes, you can occupy the stage, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Melinda. It's an absolute honour to be tuning in from Sydney, Australia. So it is my pleasure to be here with you for the next half an hour or so to really speak with you about the journey to the authentic self. And I truly believe it is the most rewarding, gritty, ruly transformation journey that we can ever undertake. And I truly believe our ultimate goal in life is to be who we truly are. So what I would love to do with you now is share with you my presentation on the journey to the authentic self. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen for you just now. Your learnings. Now, my name is Kristen Russell, and I'm a transformational coach which really helps individuals embody the journey on going inside and really allowing ourselves to be our most truest, authentic self. You know, who we are at our core, and really expressing these in our business, in our life, to live in alignment of our truth and what we love and what we want to create. And so I help business owners really embody that and really step into the life that they truly want to have and transform those aspects that are really in their way to have everything that they ever desired, to allow them to impact on a global scale, on a local scale. Maybe it's just within their family. Maybe they are just wanting to have a better relationship with their children, with themselves, with their teammates. And so I truly help business owners really live a life that they love. And I'm so passionate about this topic. It absolutely lights me up as I'm sharing what I do. And the journey to the true self is one that is the most magnificent journey anyone can undertake. Yes, there are times where it's challenging, but on the other side of that, it is really about just embracing ourselves, who we truly are, and living from our core, living from this place to really impact and have the life that we love, that we desire, that is so in alignment to us. So thank you so much for being here. I really want to acknowledge you because I believe this is the most important journey anyone can go on. And so because you are here, there's a part of you that thinks that too. And so I really want to acknowledge you. You could be anywhere else right now. You could be at home. You could be catching up with your team. You could be having a date with your partner. But instead, you are here learning about how to get to our true self, the journey that is within. And so, again, I just really want to acknowledge you and thank you so much for being here. And so, what we're going to be talking about today is the journey to the true self. And the reason why it's so powerful is because I believe it is the most important journey we can go on. For us to truly express who we are and live in alignment with who we are is completely freeing, allowing us to be true to ourselves, to create a life and a business that is in alignment with us, with you, with who you truly are, is going to allow you to live a life of magnificence and live a life that is just beyond anything you could ever imagine. And so the reason why this journey is so powerful is it can completely transform your life. And I remember when I first started this journey, I was very naive. My goodness, I was naive. I first became a coach, and that really was my initiation in the journey to me. I didn't realize that I had so many things to work with to get back to my most authentic self. I didn't realize that I had so many layers in the way of me. I had no idea. And so I remember when my first husband passed away. So he was 35 years old, and in 2014, he passed away from a 2-year battle with cancer. And we had 2 kids under 6. And after that time, I really, really struggled. I really struggled to overcome some of the grief that I was experiencing. I never knew how to move through my inner world stuff. It was not something that I was ever taught. And, none of us, many of us are not taught these things back when I was a child. More so these days, it's more acceptable and there's more knowledge about how to do that. But back when I was learning that as a child, I didn't learn the skills to be able to do that. So as an adult, I really, really struggled. And I didn't know who I was. I had no idea who I was outside of my relationship. So my relationship with Greg, my first husband, was for 16 years. I was with him from when I was 16 years old. And so I became a widow really, really young with 2 kids under the age of 6. And it was a really, really hard time. And so the journey for me has been about peeling off those layers and working through some of the things that I'd been holding on to for a really long time. Really holding on to and being my way to connect with other people. For me to really embrace other people, to embrace myself, to open myself up to, perhaps being hurt again, because I really had a wall up. I didn't want to be hurt again. It really, really challenged me when Greg passed away, and the anxiety and everything that happened to me over those few years was really something I really had to navigate. And so for me, it was a big deal. And as a result of doing this work, my life has completely changed. And so I'm so passionate about this, about helping other people move through the layers to really get to who they are at their core. We're playfulness at our core. We are love. We are curiosity. We are the highest expression of ourselves. We have needs. We have boundaries. We know what's good for us and what's not good for us. We put ourselves first, and that doesn't mean that we don't put other people at first at times. We just know what's good for us and what's not good for us. And so we're able to navigate those aspects of ourselves and really take ourselves lightly and be curious and be playful and really embody a child. So if you can think about a really beautiful child being born, they come into the world with such wonder. They've got these eyes and they're just looking at everything and seeing things for the first time. Essentially, that is the place that we're coming back to. Seeing things for the first time, seeing things in awe and in wonder about what life could be like, the possibilities that are endless. Sometimes we get caught up in what if something doesn't go well, which is, a really great question. And then we have to think about, well, what if something does go well? What if it does work? What if the possibility is endless? What if there's that place where anything is available to us and we can be our highest expression of who we are? What if we can be free to create and really embody and live from this place? And so, as I said, the journey back to our core, to our childlike self, is the most rewarding journey that we can ever undertake. And so I remember having to move through these layers, and there were times it was really, really challenging. Had no idea about some of the things that were coming up for me. Had no idea. And so for me to be able to move through them was a really new experience. And having support of people around me, having a mentor, having a coach, having family and friends that were really there to support me was so important. And so if you're embarking on this journey, it's really important to have the support that you need. Really important to have the support to going inside, to not only support you, but also champion you. One of the things that we are not taught is to celebrate ourselves, because there's this thing called tall poppy syndrome. And so you want to have people that are your cheerleaders, that can cheer you on. You want to have people that are in your team, on your team, with you, side by side. One of the quotes from Brené Brown is, to be authentic, we must cultivate the courage to be imperfect and vulnerable. And it's so important to embrace the vulnerability that comes with the journey to go inside. It's so important to really embrace leaning in and being uncomfortable and navigating the challenging times and reaching out to that support when you need help. One of the things that we're mostly not taught is to reach out for help. We think we need to do things alone. We simply don't. We're not destined to be alone. We're destined to be with other people. We need other people to have self-esteem. And so the journey to our most authentic self can help with our self-esteem, can help with the relationships with our children, with our husbands, with our wives. And it's so important for us to be able to connect with them, because that truly is allowing ourselves to open up to the love and the possibility that is available to us, instead of being closed off from the people that are around us and really being in our shell and not being our fullest expression or our authentic self. And so when it comes to you running a business or being in your team, you being vulnerable is only allowing other people to look at you in awe. They think to themselves, oh my goodness, I wish that I could be that open. I wish I could be that open with the people around me. I wish I could be that confident. I wish I could be that okay with my flaws and my imperfections. And so a lot of the times we are inspiring other people by going on this journey, because they look at you and they think, I want some of that. I really want what she's having, what he's having. How do I be more confident? And so the journey going in allows you to overcome those challenges and you build your confidence. If we're not being our authentic self, we can experience a wide range of emotional experiences that aren't the best for us. We can be stressed, we can be anxious, we can have depression. And I remember being so anxious because I was so full of emotions that I hadn't experienced, or stuff that I had there, or shame. And so studies show that 85% of us are affected in some way by low self-esteem. And I think that that's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And so by us being vulnerable and going inside really is allowing us to grow our self-esteem and encouraging other people to grow their self-esteem. So what we are referring to on this journey is who we are at our core. It isn't who we pretend to be. It's not who we think we should be. It's not our expectations that others place upon us. It's actually who we are. It's actually who we are, and navigating those aspects of ourselves. So the outer layer that we have, the inner layer that's in between, that's protecting our core self. And so what I want us to do now is I want us to imagine that we're going on an adventure. Now we're really going to embody the childlike aspects. And we're going to go on an adventure, and we're going to discover the lost part of ourselves. And it's going to be in a deep, deep magical cave. So in your mind now, I'd love you to imagine that we're going into the forest. We're going on an expedition to really find this magic that's locked away in a cave. And I want you to think about, how that's going to feel when you get there. Get a sense of what are the things that you will embody when you get there, when you discover that aspect of yourself. What will you have in your life? What will be different for you? What would you have navigated? What will you have? How will you be your highest expression of you? And so I want you to imagine that your authentic self is inside the cave. And it's the deep love and the deep connection to ourselves, where we're free to be ourselves without feeling like we're being judged. We're curious, we laugh, we're playful, and we're really compassionate towards ourselves. We give ourselves self-compassion. We know when it's okay to pull back and look after ourselves. The truest essence of who we are, the love and the expression of our deepest, deepest self. Now, I remember when we're talking about being playful, I remember I was the fun police for so many years. So many years. I didn't ever allow myself to have fun. I didn't allow myself to fully express who I was at my core. I didn't allow myself to really be free to be me. And so I didn't know how to have fun. I had some things happen early in my childhood. My parents separated. We moved schools. There was abuse. We had lots of death when I was young. And so as a result of that, I really shut down my ability to laugh, to have fun. And maybe some of you are relating to this. And maybe yours looks different to mine. And maybe you've got a bigger version or a smaller version. And it doesn't matter what yours looks like, it's perfect for you. And so I'm sure maybe some of you can relate to this. And what's really important to acknowledge is there's no blame. We're not blaming anyone. Essentially, we're just being taught what's being taught to our caregivers, the people that have raised us. It's no one's fault. It's extremely important to acknowledge that. And so for me, I had to grow up really fast. And it wasn't like I did have to grow up really fast. I still had people around me. I just thought I did. And so when we're children, we think things and they're not necessarily real. It's not necessarily how things happened. So things happen to us that we become afraid of. And we need to grow and move through or heal them. So for me, I've had to heal through and move some of those aspects of me. And so there's parts of us that we think are the most horrible parts that we don't want anyone to know. We try and hide these away from other people. And we develop some shame around who we are or what we've been through or some of the things that we've had to experience that weren't our fault. And so as a result of that, we want to keep them away. We want to shut them away. And we want to shut people away. Essentially, we've got our cave and then the aspects of ourselves that are love, that are compassion, and then things happen. And we develop shame and we develop guilt and parts of us that we really don't want to express. And we hide these aspects of ourselves away. So we've developed a layer over our core. Now, because we don't want anyone to know about this, we then develop another layer. And it's how we show our face to the world. It's how we behave to hide those parts of us. Maybe we people please. Maybe we put other people's needs before our own. Maybe we are a rebel, like maybe we rebel. Maybe we say no to things that we should say yes to, and we say yes to things that we should say no to. Maybe we might overachieve to feel good, to hide our shame, hide our crud. Maybe we might always have to be in control or be a perfectionist, because essentially what we're trying to do is hide those parts of ourselves. So we only show the world the parts that we want people to see, that we think are acceptable to other people. And we hide those parts of us that we're embarrassed about. So we'll take on a role. So for me, it was very much overachieving. I had the people pleaser in me. I've been the surrogate caregiver, so like the mother to my siblings. I've been the hero. Wow, there's so many coming up. I've been the hero. I've always flown in and looked after other people. And so imagine when my husband passes away and I'm wearing my mask of saving other people. I spent so long looking after others that I left me till last, to my own detriment. And so what we want to be able to do is essentially drop the mask and move through the things that we have shame around, that we're embarrassed about, so that we can be free to be who we are. And so let's get back to the forest. Let's get back to the adventure. Because how do we get back there? So you can imagine now that, we're going into the forest and we've got a backpack on and we've got, some of the things that are going to protect us. Now, essentially, how we do that is we think we need to pack our protection, but this time we decide to not wear it. Instead of having our protection, because we're going into the forest, you never know what monsters, what's going to jump out, what beasts, what people might try and take advantage of us. Now, what we might lose along the way. So we have protection that we think that we need to take, that we think that we need to wear. Now, how we do that is we don't wear the protection. We still want to take it with us, but we're just going to put it in our backpack. So we put on our backpack, we've got our protection in our bag, but essentially we're not wearing our protection. We're just taking it with us. So that's the first little baby step in being able to navigate. And so as we go through the forest, there's going to be things that jump out. And you're going to be able to be with each part of that. and you're going to sit with it, and you're going to embrace it, and you're going to have conversations with it, and you're going to move through how you feel about it. You're going to move through maybe the fear, the anxiety, the shame, the sadness, whatever comes up for you. Maybe there's some joy. Maybe you've denied your joy. Maybe joy might pop out and it's really new to you and you get anxious about it. And so as we're going through the forest, we start to believe and trust that we can handle life, that we can be ourselves, that we can be free to express who we are, and that we are able to handle it. And so as we're going through the forest, these things are jumping out and there's resistance, and you're navigating each step at a time. And we're not running, we're just taking our time. This is a journey that certainly happens over a long period. It's not a fast journey. So we want to be able to, each time something comes out of the forest, be with that, be present to it, embrace it, love it, accept it, release it. Maybe these parts have been in the forest for a really long time. Maybe they need to be heard. Maybe they need to be sat with for a little bit longer than just, yep, okay, thank you, next. Be with those parts. They may be hurt, they may be angry. And so it's really important to love and accept and bring them with you. Now, when we get to the magical cave, this is the beautiful, beautiful part. So you've gone on the journey, you've put your protection to the side, and as Brene Brown says, be vulnerable, be imperfect, have courage. And so you've put your protection in your backpack. You're not wearing your protection. And then you've gone through the forest, and each time something's come out at you, you've really been able to sit with it and embrace it and not deny it and not push it away. Really be with that part. And then as you keep doing that, you get to the magical cave. Now, in the magical cave, you will no longer feel you need your protection in your bag. You will no longer feel that you need to people please. You will no longer need to seek success to feel worthy. You will no longer need to be perfect. You know no one's perfect. You'll no longer be critical of who you are or the life that you live, and you'll start to live a life that's true to you. You'll begin to experience closeness to the people around you. You'll feel a deep sense of knowing who you are. You'll be playful, you'll be curious, you'll be open, you'll be light, you'll be free. And of course, there'll be times where you get caught up in life and some of those things might come up again because we're all human. It's part of the human experience. It's so important to continue to lean in and to embrace and to accept. This is the most important part of really discovering who you are at your core, is accepting the parts of you that you may be denying. Accepting the parts of you that are so beautiful that have just been moved to the side. And so essentially, it's letting down our protection, navigating those aspects of ourselves, dumping the things that no longer serve, speaking your truth and being who you truly are at your core. So I really want to acknowledge you for making it this far. And thank you for coming on the adventure with me, the journey to our true self. It's been my absolute pleasure to be here with you today. And if you would like to find out more about your journey and the journey to your truest, most authentic self, You'll find more about the work I do on my website, www.chrisminddynamics.com.au. And again, thank you so much for being here, acknowledging you, and have a great day. Thank you so much. I trust you enjoyed. Thank you so much for your comments. I would love to know, what's standing out for you? What are you taking away? If you want to just drop it in the chat for me. Hello, Melinda. How are you? Melinda's come back.
Yes, we have enjoyed your presentation, Kristen. I think you
Thank you
have
so
really
much.
got a very good comment about the presentation, and you're the last speaker for the day one event. So we have ended with a very good point for the last presentation, and we do have a question for our audience. So this is a question. So, so, how do you handle challenges and setbacks? And how can you pursue them more fully?
How do you handle the challenges and the setbacks on the journey? Is that the question?
Yes.
It's a really great question. And thank you so much for the person that's asked the question, because they are definitely going to come up. You are going to get challenges on your journey. And so, what's so important is to be able to have support on your journey and to know that it's absolutely okay to be having those challenges. In fact, it's really normal to be experiencing the challenges. So, what's so important is to give yourself, firstly, self compassion that you're experiencing the challenges, because again, they're completely normal. Then, just allowing yourself to experience whatever that is. And it really is dependent on what the challenges are, for me to be more specific. So, but just from a general perspective, firstly, giving yourself self compassion that you are experiencing them, reaching out to somebody that can support you and to really help you navigate those aspects. And so, depending on what your challenge is, will be dependent on who you reach out to. But I would say believe in yourself to be able to still overcome the challenges, because essentially, you've overcome every challenge you've ever experienced to date. So the chances are you will continue to overcome this challenge. So it's really believing that this too will pass, being with the experience, having self compassion, and having support from people around you.
Thank you, Kristen, for that answer. Yes. And one more question for you, Kristen. What are your core values and beliefs? So how do you shape your actions and decisions?
Sorry, I missed part of the question because it froze for a second. Could you repeat the question for me?
So, yeah. What are your core values and beliefs?
What are my core values
How
and
do they shape your actions and decisions?
do you mean me personally, or just in general, somebody's mine personally?
Yeah, in general. In general.
In general, how do you shape your values? Was that the question?
What are your core values and beliefs? How do they
Yeah.
shape your actions and decisions?
Okay, so there's two parts to that question. So how do you shape your values? So your values are very much shaped when you're a child or growing up. It really shapes what you value. And so then you can change your values. So you can value different things. And as you go on the journey, you will change your values because you're valuing something different to what you've been taught. And so the way that we act on our values is actually to live in alignment with what we value. So the first step is to become aware of what you value. And so, how you do that is notice what you spend time on, what you spend money on, what your preference is in life, and that will determine what you value. Now, sometimes we might be valuing the wrong thing. Sometimes we might need to value something different. But what is super important is to have a think about, what do you spend time on every single day? What is important to you? Because if they're not what you want to value, you may need to change what you value. Because essentially, what you're taking action on is what you value. So become aware of what you're taking action on. And if they're not in alignment with who you are, then you can start to value something different.
Thank you, Kristen, for answering all of our questions and helping us. So, and you have given a very good points and fantastic speech, fantastic presentation today. So this is the day when we have completed the day one with Kristen Russell. And so yes, we do have a physical event which is going in New York. So if you have some time, so you can even join that event and share your valuable comments over there. So thank you so much, Kristen, and have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, hello everybody. This is Melinda Roy. I'm the host for the 2 days conference Global Summit 2023. So, yes, we have missed our pre-recorded session. Our speaker David L. Lindsay. We will try to play the due to some technical glitch. We are unable to play the video of David L. Lindsay previously. So let's have a try now, and we have fixed the issue. So let's see how it will work. So please join the session for the last speaker, David Lindsay. We will play the pre-recorded session. Thank you.